Hi, I'm Moulisha. I'm a science faculty at SIL classes. So, in this session, my topic is human heart and double circulation. So, I will try to provide you a clear concept on the structure of human heart, and also I'll try to clear your concept on double circulation. That is the pattern of circulation that human being poses. So I'll be discussing on that along with a detailed explanation on the structure of human heart. So I'll be sharing my screen. So yeah, I'm going to discuss about the human heart today. So human heart, first of all, we all know that human heart is a four-chambered heart. So it's a four-chambered heart. Because we know there are the three-chambered and the two-chambered heart organisms are also there. Like if we talk about the fishes, the Pisces, they have the two-chambered heart, and they pose this method of the pattern of circulation, that is single circulation. And then we know about the reptiles; they have the three-chambered heart, right? So yeah, the human beings, us, we have the four-chambered heart. And next thing we need to know is about the membrane of heart, because we know that in our body all the organs are protected by a covering membrane, and most of these membranes are bilayered or double layered membrane, right? So for human heart, the membrane is known as the pericardial membrane, which is again a double layered membrane. So the name of the membrane is pericardial membrane, you need to remember. So this is a bilayered membrane, obviously, and it has its outer part and its inner part, and this pericardial membrane secretes a fluid. Okay, now what is the function of that fluid? That fluid is known as the pericardial fluid only. So this pericardial fluid, it provides, to some extent, it lubricates. Okay, because human heart is always pumping, right? It's always contracting and then relaxing again. So it's a kind of vibration we see in heart. It's a pumping mechanism. So during that pumping, there the muscles, the cardiac muscles are working, right? So to reduce the friction with all other organs and muscles. Okay, so to reduce the friction with all other organelles and muscles, there is the fluid that is being secreted, from the pericardial membrane. Okay, that is the pericardial fluid, which acts as a lubricant, and it reduces the friction of heart with other organs and the cardiac muscles. Okay, so this is the basic knowledge for human heart. It's a four-chambered heart, and the membrane, the protective membrane, is the pericardial membrane. Okay, now the heart, mainly in our body, the heart is a constituent of the circulatory system, right? So if we talk about the circulatory system, what is the significance of circulatory system in our body? Because all the organisms, not only us, all the organisms on earth, they need the oxygen and all the other materials of their body. They need to distribute it throughout the body. All the body tissues, they require food, they require oxygen. Okay, so we have to distribute these materials throughout our body, and this distribution or this transport is done by the circulatory system in our body, right? And this circulatory system has three main constituents. And what are they? The circulatory system mainly is composed of three things, and they are, first of all, the organ, which is heart. It is the pumping organ, we say, because it is pumping things in and around the body. And then we talk about the blood vessels, that we all know are the arteries and veins. And the third component, we can say, third component, that is the medium. of transport. That majorly is blood. Along with that, lymph is also working as a transport medium to transport oxygen, to transport the nutrient molecules, to transport water, okay, everything. So, three constituents of the human circulatory system. First of all, heart, which is the pumping machine or the pumping organ, and then the blood vessels, arteries, and veins, and then the medium of transport, blood and lymph. Okay, but in this session, our focus is on the structure of heart. Okay, we'll be focusing mainly on the structure of heart and how the blood is passing through heart. So blood is passing through all the vessels present in our body, all the arteries and veins and lungs and heart, right? This is mainly the pathway of blood. But we will mainly focus on how the blood is passing through heart only. Okay, for that, first of all, we need to have a clear idea on the structure of heart itself. So let's discuss that. First, I will show you a diagram of heart. As you can see in this diagram, it's showing the heart anatomy, the complete anatomy. The first there is the view, and then you can see if I talk about the view A, then you can see the heart, the all over structure of it, and the B diagram is showing the cross section of heart. Okay, so these are the two structure. Okay, first of all, there is a whole view, and then in the second structure, we are observing that is actually a cross section of heart. Okay, so a cross section is clearly showing us the four chamber. Okay, and you can see all other labelings there. Now I will draw a diagram to show you how easily and how quickly you can draw a human heart, and also I will label all the parts so you can just quickly understand what are the parts and what are their names. Okay, let's do that. So first of all, to draw a human heart, draw the lower portion first. You can develop your own method of drawing heart. I follow this method. It's a basic diagram, but yeah, we can understand all the parts from here. Okay, so first I will draw the thing and then I will label. I'm almost done. Okay, so this is the structure of human heart roughly. So if I try to label this structure, first of all, whenever you are drawing the human heart, let's determine which one would be your left side of the heart and which one is the right side of the heart. So when we are drawing, obviously this side would be the right side of the heart as I am determining. So when you just first develop a structure in your brain that yeah, I'll be taking this one as the right side of the heart and this part is the left side of the heart, and then draw all the structures in according to the side you took. Okay, so I am taking this part as the right side and here is the left side of the structure here. Okay, so if this is the right side, then we have four chambers in our heart. Okay, so two atrium or you can say auricles and two ventricles. Okay, atrium or auricle, they refer to the same chamber. So I am taking the upper chamber as the right auricle or right atrium. So then this chamber is obviously the left auricle or the left atrium. Okay, so the two upper chambers are there. Right upper chamber, right auricle, left upper chamber, left auricle. Then I am coming to the lower chamber. So this is the right ventricle and this is the left ventricle. Okay, so now we got the four chambers of our heart. Next, I'm coming to the right part only. So in the right part, there is a structure called superior vena cava or upper vena cava. That is this one. This is the superior vena cava or the upper vena cava. And this structure, if you see, which is connected to the right ventricle, is the inferior vena cava. I'll tell you their function first. Let's complete the labeling part. Okay. So this superior vena cava or upper vena cava and inferior vena cava or lower vena cava, both of these two veins are connected with the right auricle. Don't get confused that this inferior vena cava is connected to the right ventricle. No, not at all. As you can see this opening is actually indicating the opening of inferior vena cava into the chamber. As because it's a 2D diagram and the structure is a 3-dimensional structure, so that is why we need to imagine a little. Okay, we need to assume. So this inferior and superior vena cava both are veins, and we know that veins always carry deoxygenated blood. That means the blood which have a higher concentration of carbon dioxide, which is collecting the carbon dioxide, that is the waste product of cellular respiration being collected from all over the body, and they are depositing it into the right auricle. Okay, so that are the superior and inferior vena cava. And why they are superior and inferior? Because superior is collecting all the deoxygenated part from the upper part of the body, that is mainly from the brain. Okay, and inferior vena cava is because it is collecting the deoxygenated blood from the lower body parts. Okay, so that is why it is the lower vena cava or the inferior vena cava. So both of these veins are connected with the right auricle. Next, I am coming to the right ventricle. Now, as you can see, this structure here, which is connected to the right ventricle, this is the mouth of the structure. This structure is pulmonary artery. Okay, this is pulmonary artery. Okay, I'll tell you the function later. First, let's identify the parts. So the vessel which is connected with the right ventricle is the pulmonary artery. And where this artery is going? This artery from heart is going to the lungs. Okay, so pulmonary artery is the artery that is connected with the right ventricle of the heart and it is going towards the lungs. Okay, now we know that in between all the chambers of heart, there are the valves present. And what are valves? Valves are like doors that can open in only one direction. Okay, if the two of my hands are two valves, then it can open in this direction only and they will never open in this direction. Okay, that is the property of a valve or of a pair of valves, that they will open in one direction only. And what is the significance of that? is that if the valves are opening in one direction only, that means they are ensuring the flow of blood in one particular direction, and it will never allow the backflow of blood. Okay, so these valves are present at the junction of right auricle and right ventricle. So as you can see the two flaps of the valve, this valve is known as, either you can say it's the tricuspid valve, okay, or you can say it's the right atrioventricular valve. Why atrioventricular? Because it is present at the junction of atrium or auricle and ventricle. That is why it is named as atrioventricular valve, and it is present at the right side of the heart. That is why right atrioventricular valve. Clear? Now we are going to the left side of the heart. So if you focus on the left side of the heart, you will see that there is also another valve present at the junction of the left auricle and the left ventricle. Okay, this valve is known as bicuspid valve. The right side one is tricuspid, the left side one is bicuspid, or you can say it's the left atrioventricular valve. Okay, so then the tricuspid valve present the right side of the heart, and the bicuspid valve present at the left side of the heart. And both of these valves, they ensure that bloods are, blood is flowing only in one direction. That is, if we consider the right side, then blood is only flowing from the right auricle to the right ventricle and never flowing back from the right ventricle to the right auricle. And same thing applicable for the left side also. The valves are ensuring that the blood is only flowing from left auricle to left ventricle and never from left ventricle to left auricle. And why it is needed, that I'll explain you. Only one structure is left that we need to know, that is this structure. What is it? That is connected with the left auricle. It is the pulmonary vein. Okay, so this one was the pulmonary artery and these are the pulmonary vein. Okay, and this thing, as you can see, this structure, this is the aorta, and you can see the branches of it on the top of the heart. So these are the branches of aorta. Okay, aorta is connected with the left ventricle. And there is also another valve that is present at the mouth of aorta, that is between the left ventricle and the aorta. This valve, as you can see, this is called the aortic valve. Okay. And another valve you can see at the mouth of the pulmonary artery, present between right ventricle and pulmonary artery, which is pulmonary valve. Okay, so then if we revise, we have actually 4 different types of valves present in our heart. Tricuspid valve, and then bicuspid valve, and then pulmonary valve and aortic valve. Okay, so these are the 4 valves. I'll tell you the function of these valves. Okay, so this is the overall structure of human heart. Now we need to know that how the blood is flowing through the heart. Okay, so before explaining that, I will take 2 colors to differentiate the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. So I'm taking blue color arrows to indicate the deoxygenated blood, and I'm taking the red color arrows to denote the oxygenated blood. Okay, now just follow the arrows I am drawing on the diagram. First, I'll be considering the right side of the heart. Okay, So as I told you that superior and inferior vena cava, they are responsible for the collection of CO2 rich blood or deoxygenated blood from all over the body, and they deposit it into the right auricle. So then through the superior and inferior vena cava, the deoxygenated blood will enter into the right auricle. Okay, so as you can see, I have drawn the blue arrows, that is towards the right auricle. Okay, now when the right auricle is filled with deoxygenated blood, it will apply pressure on the valves. Okay, because the chamber is now fully filled with blood, so it will apply pressure on the valves, so the valves will now open, and from the right auricle the deoxygenated blood will come into the right ventricle. Okay, so then what are the function of the tricuspid valve? To allow the deoxygenated blood to pass from the right auricle to the right ventricle. Now here I'll answer you that why the valves always open in one direction. Because now if you see, this is the deoxygenated blood that is coming from right auricle to right ventricle. Now, what if the valves are opening in opposite direction? Then the deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle will again flow back to the right auricle, and then right auricle is directly connected with superior and inferior vena cava. So then superior, and as you can see, there is no valve present in the mouth of superior and inferior vena cava, right? So then what will happen is that deoxygenated blood will flow back through the superior and inferior vena cava, and will, it will flow back to all the other body tissues. So our body will be again supplied with deoxygenated blood that will create a severe toxicity, right? And that may cause death. Okay. So because our body will then face a very deficiency of oxygen, so it will not be able to perform cellular respiration. Okay, so that is the significance of valves. That is why the valves are always directed to open in one direction only. Okay, yeah. So then from the right auricle, the deoxygenated blood through the tricuspid valve came to the right ventricle. And when the right ventricle is completely filled with the deoxygenated blood, then the heart will again contract. And because of the contraction, the pressure inside the ventricle will increase, and that will lead to the opening of the pulmonary valve. And when the pulmonary valve is open, blood through the pulmonary artery will go towards where? Towards the lungs, because pulmonary artery actually takes the deoxygenated blood from the heart to the lungs. Okay, so then the right part of our heart is only responsible for the circulation of deoxygenated blood. Okay, now let's come to the left side of the part. So pulmonary vein, what it is actually doing from lungs. So pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein are actually, it's the connection between heart and lungs. So from heart, through the pulmonary artery, the deoxygenated blood is going to the lungs, and through the pulmonary vein, the oxygenated blood is coming into the heart. So these are the two pulmonary veins through which the oxygenated blood will enter. Then it will apply pressure on the bicuspid valve. The bicuspid valve will open, oxygenated blood will enter into the left ventricle, and when the left ventricle is filled with oxygenated blood, again the heart will contract, the pressure will increase, that will allow the aortic valve to open, and then through the aorta, the blood, the oxygenated blood will be distributed throughout the body parts. Okay, so this is the process. Now one thing you can ask me, that we know that all arteries carry oxygenated blood and all veins carry deoxygenated blood. But why it is opposite in case of pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein? Yes, that is the exception. Pulmonary artery is the only artery present in our body that carry deoxygenated blood, and pulmonary vein is the only vein in our body that carry oxygenated blood. Okay, so this is the pattern how blood is flowing through our heart. Now, one thing I just want to let you know that this right part of the heart and the left part of the heart, the circulation is going on, is actually, it's happening, simultaneously. The first, the right auricle, when the right auricle is getting filled with deoxygenated blood, at the same time the left auricle is getting filled with oxygenated blood. And then the valves are opening, and at the same time the heart is at relaxed condition. The right ventricle and the left ventricle are receiving blood from their corresponding chambers. And again, when the two ventricles are fully filled with blood, then the whole heart is contracting. So the pressure is increased in both the ventricles. Okay, so it's a simultaneous process. Okay, I hope the structure of heart and the way through which blood is circulating through our heart is clear. We will try to remember all the leveling here. We will try to remember the position of the valves very well, all the vessels connected, other vessels that are carrying deoxygenated blood and oxygenated blood, what are the chambers with which they are connected with. These are the main thing to remember from the structure of heart. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you.